9. March, 1965. My dearest Suzie, I received your letter in the bonds today, and although the letter did upset me, I'm more worried about you not having enough money this month. Especially when it is my fault in the first place. And now I can't even get the bonds cashed over here. I tried the club and PX in post office. Those are the only places we have, and none of them can cash them. So all I can do is sign them for you and hope that someone will cash them for you. Let me know right away as soon as you get them, so I'll at least know that you got them okay. Now about your problems there with my folks. I feel like if either one of us is to blame, it is me. You did right to write and let me know what they were planning, so you haven't done anything wrong. I maybe got a little too mad and wrote them too soon. In fact, if I had waited 2 days to say anything, I would have gotten your second letter telling me that Dad was going to keep the car. So I might be a little at fault for that, and I did sit right down and apologize for my first letter. However, I think that the big fault lies in them. I felt like they could have at least written and told me what they planned. I wouldn't have felt so bad about it. Even if they had wrote and said they wanted to let Jim take it, at least I would have known what they were interested in and how I felt about it. But they didn't write then, and I still haven't heard from them. I know that you were upset when you wrote to me this last time, and with good reason, but honey, you are a really mature woman now, and things like this shouldn't get you down so easily. I know that this is a rough time for you, having to take care of the kids alone, worry about the car, worry about money, and worry about me, as I am sure you must. But please don't let things like this upset you so. You are my wife. Probably the only one I'll ever have, and your feelings are much more important to me than any words the old man or Johnny could ever say. And as for any picture Mom might have, I don't know what you are talking about. And anyway, I will get that straightened out when I get home. Now, don't misunderstand me in this letter. I don't want you to get the idea that I don't want to hear about your problems. You damn well better tell me when you have troubles. And you said it right in your letter. I'm the one you are supposed to talk to. My point is this. I don't want these things upsetting you. One thing that really does upset me is the dirty words that you used in your letter. That was not like you at all. Now, we have had 2 great years together, and as far as I'm concerned, the only reason we had trouble before is because we were both kids. But I would like to have about 50 years just like the last 2. So before you go doing anything rash, remember one thing. You are just about completely on your own. You can pick your friends, and just about so as you please. If you feel like you don't want to see or talk to any of my folks, it won't bother me a bit. The only thing that I ask of you is that you continue to take care of our boys the best you can on what little money you get and be true to me in everything that you do. We are at the halfway point now. We only have 6 months to wait to all be together again. That isn't long. I wish that I had the money right now. I would ask for a 3-day pass and go to Saigon and call you, but I don't right now. But as soon after payday as I can get up there, I will call you. That will give you something to look forward to. The reason I have a 3-day pass is because they can only put calls through for 3 hours a day, and there is a heck of a waiting list. But you can look forward to a call between the 1st and the 10th if nothing happens. I have your number. I heard from your mother about 3 days ago. She said she had talked to John, and they got the dolls, and that Bea had been sick is the reason she hadn't written to me. Well, I guess I had better close for now. I love you very much, and I miss you something terrible. I'm sorry about all the trouble. All my love, Bill. In this letter, we see what is one of the most personal glimpses into Meemaw and Popi's relationship. Though she won't give me many details about what they are arguing over, to be honest, I don't think she remembers them very well, we see some conflict about the car pop up again. This was mentioned a few weeks ago, and it seems like Meemaw is attempting to resolve the transferring of the ownership of a car between her and Popi and one of his brothers. Popi, as a diligent son, is struggling with balancing his relationship with his parents and siblings alongside his marriage and relationship with his children. This is an experience that I'm sure many young men can relate to around his age. At one point, he writes, "You are my wife, probably the only one I'll ever have," which ended up being true. Though I know Meemaw and he had their problems. He also wrote, "One thing that really does upset me is the dirty words that you used in your letter." I find this to be pretty hilarious. Meemaw is ubiquitously known to have a mouth like a sailor. I assure you that I've inherited that from her, though I'm working on it, and it's funny to think that among all his other worries, he wants to chastise her for her language. This letter ultimately gives us a glimpse into how Popi, or really any soldier, may attempt to mediate personal struggles between his family, as well as poorly budgeting for the month, while overseas and fighting in a war. This is an example of the real, personal side of history. It doesn't tell us anything about a great battle or an evil general, but it does show us what most of the people fighting in wars actually have to think about. It's a sobering reminder of how good life is for those of us that don't have to make this sort of sacrifice. The photo I chose for today depicts a group of women in a town. They are all wearing bright white dresses and conical hats. They are holding briefcases. Though this photo doesn't have much of a connection to the letter, it gives us a glimpse into what the soldiers may have seen while visiting town. It was a noteworthy sight enough for Popi to take a picture of. I'm Alex Lowy, and I hope you have enjoyed listening to this episode of Dearest Suzie and receiving messages from the past that my Popi wrote exactly 60 years ago. I sincerely appreciate your time and interest. Please consider following the podcast on your preferred platform, and if you're enjoying it, I kindly ask that you take the time to rate the show and leave a review. Also, please follow the project on YouTube, X, and Instagram. All likes, comments, shares, and reviews will help grow the reach of this story. The links for these things should be in the description of this episode. Please feel free to email me at dearestsuziepodcast@gmail.com if you have anything you'd like to say. I'd love to chat or to hear about your stories as well. Thank you for listening, and God bless.